Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. It's Brother Thawam coming at you with these precepts and another cold cut. First and foremost, giving all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name of the Most High God, right? And Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? So on this cold cut, we're going into the garden and the husbandman, right? The garden and the gardener, right? I don't got too much time, so we kind of get straight into it. Right. This is Genesis chapter 2 and verse number 8. It says, "And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed." Right. So from the beginning, the Most High, right, he created the garden, right? From the beginning, the Most High, he's the husband, right? The husbandman, the gardener, and he's the one that planted, right, that garden eastward in Eden, right? So now when you look at it, go to First Corinthians chapter 3 and verse number 9, it says, "For we are laborers together with the Most High. Ye are God's husbandry. Ye are God's building." So, hey, we are the work of the Most High. We are the creation, right? The Most High created the garden, right? But we are the husbandry, meaning we are the fruits of the labor, that the Most High put in, right? So let's go to Isaiah, right? Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 2. Isaiah chapter 5 and 2. I'm gonna start at 1. It says, "Now will I sing to my well beloved a song of my beloved, touching his vineyard," right? The vineyard, the garden. "My well beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. He fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes." See that? So, hey, the Most High, he set up that garden. The Most High set up that garden. He took this land, right? And like you said, he moved out the stones, he moved out the rocks, he moved the different things out of the way. He planted the tower, he put the wine press in it, he put all of these different things. Hey, that's your prophets, right? That's your leaders, your leadership, your kings, right? You got your recorders in the ancient world. You got different men. You got your captains over tens and fifties and hundreds and thousands. You got your different men with different levels of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to help lead the people, right? Israel is that garden. We are the people that the Most High chose. So, as his chosen people, he's the husband. And what a husband does is he tends to the garden, he tends to the flowers, he tends to the plants or the trees or the vines or the bushes or whatever he is or whatever he puts there, right? And as we know, when you read Matthew, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but when you read Matthew chapter 13, Salakia, Salakia, is that what I want? Right? But you read about the wheats and the tares, right? And you want to be the wheat and not the tares, because the tares are like your weeds. The tares are your desirable plants. These are the plants that don't belong there. These are the plants that Satan sown into it. Right? I'm gonna just get this for the sake of time. Matthew 13, and I'm gonna start at 37. It says, "He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man," right? "The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom," right? The children of Israel. "But the tares are the children of the wicked one." You see that? So you want to be the good seed. You don't want to be the tare. Tares and the wheats, they look similar, but there's a difference to them. But as they're growing up, they look exactly the same. So as we're, coming out of the world, our people are coming out of the wicked ways and the wicked lifestyles that we were in. Hey, Some of our, even some of our people, some Israelites, they have wicked agendas. And those agendas that they have, those are the tares. But they got their beard on their face, they wear their fringes, they say Kwam Yasha'Allah, right? They learn in the Hebrew, they learn in the breakdowns, they might even go out and teach. But tares and wheats look very similar. Hey, but at the end, hey, the Lord is going to know, he's going to be able to separate the difference between the wheat and the tares. He says, as therefore the tares are gathered and burned in a fire. So like it. Verse 39. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. So you want to be a part of the good seed and not the tares, right? As the husbandry, as the husbandmen of the Lord, right? As the husbandry of the Lord, right? Let's go to 1 Peter 1 and 24. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 24. It says, for all flesh is as grass, and all the glory of man as the flower of grass. The grass withereth, and the flower thereof falleth away. See that? So men are compared to grass when you go through the scriptures. So men are the grass, right? And the glory of a man, right? The the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding a brother may have, the whatever spiritual gifts the Most High may put on a brother. Hey, that's his flower, right? The glory of a man is the flower of the grass. It says the grass withereth, flower thereof falleth away, because you'll get old, right? At a point in time, Lord forbid, that's any of us, but the elect, they're not going to die, but every other person, they're going to give up the ghost. You're born, you rise and you reach your peak, right? You reach your levels of glory, you reach your levels of being a person of renown, you reach your levels of, being a person that's at a high standard. And then over time, hey, you start to fall back. You start to fall back down. You start to regress in your knowledge and your wisdom. You start to regress in your strength, right? And then eventually you give up the ghost, right? It says, verse 25, but the word of the Lord endureth forever. And this is the word which by the gospel is preached unto you. So, hey, we're the flowers, right? I'm going to get that again in Isaiah chapter 40 and 5. We're the grass. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse number 5. It says, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord have spoken it. The voice said, cry. And he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. You see that? So once again, that's where Peter got that analogy from. That's where he got that parable from. So all flesh is as grass, right? Verse 7, the grass withereth, the flower fadeth, because the spirit of the Lord bloweth upon it. Surely the people is grass. You see that? So, like I said, hey, you'll reach your peak, you'll reach your place of, being at the top of your game or whatever the case is. Hey, but all people are as grass. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our God shall stand forever. So, that's something we gotta keep in mind. These different parables when we're reading the scriptures and you read about grass or you read about trees, you read about these different things, and you always, not always, but a lot of times you can associate these things back to mankind and the way that the Most High uses the different things on the earth to compare these things to men and how men move and how men think and how men act. Men are compared to beasts. Men get compared to as we just read, the grass, right? Lord willing, we're going into the trees next. Men are compared to the waters, the seas, right? So men get compared to a lot of different things, right? Even the Daniel 2, you got the statue, right? Daniel 7, you got the four beasts. Men and kingdoms, you get mountains and hills, all of these different things. The Lord, these parables are used as signs of men, and it's used, mainly for the elect to guide the elect in this life on how to move. So when the elect are reading the scriptures and they read about a certain animal, and how this animal moves, the elect knows, hey, I need to move like this, or I don't need to move like this. When you read about these different plants and how this flesh is and how these plants are, you know, all right, this is talking about man, and man is doing like this. These deep parables, these different things are for the elect to, read through and decipher, right? One more real quick, Job 14 and 1. It says, man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble, right? He cometh forth like a flower and is cut down. So like we go into, like the grass, these flowers. You grow up and then you come down, right? He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not. So just like grass, men grow and then they die. They grow and then they wither. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, that's the grass. Now let's get into the trees, right? The Lord compares men to grass. He also compares men to trees, right? The book of Mark, chapter 8, and verse number 24. I'm started 23, started 22. And he cometh to Bethsaida, and they bring a blind man unto him and besought him to touch him, right? Talking about Yahushua. And he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands upon him, he asked him if he saw aught. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. You see that? So, hey, once again, men are compared to trees, right? So you got the grass grows and it withers. Hey, but the word of the Lord is forever. So now you got men are being compared to as trees. So now we read in Genesis 2 and 8, the Most High set a garden eastward in Eden. So now when you read Genesis 2, and I'm gonna start at 16. Salaki. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 16, it says, and the Lord commanded the man, talking about Adam, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. Right? So the knowledge, right, and that understanding, that's talking about the knowledge and the wisdom of the nations, right? These other people in the way that they move, and the way that they live, and the gods that they serve. And our people are not supposed to be partaking in these different idols and these different wicked doctrines and philosophies and things of that nature, right? Let me get a quick precept and what I want, Psalms, Psalms. Is it 75? Salakia, right? Right, Lord willing, the precept to come back to my mind. But hey, these idols of these different nations, hey, I mean, they're nothing, right? But we know that the Most High, right, the Most High Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, He's the one that created the heavens and the earth, right? So we don't look to these other nations for guidance. We don't look to man for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We look to the Most High. So the trees, right, that we are able to partake of, or the different things that we can learn these things from amongst our own people, right? From other men of counsel, of wisdom, of understanding, men of our people that have experience, but we shouldn't be learning from the other nations because they can't teach us nothing, right? These different gods and these different idols, they can't teach us nothing. Man like to set up these different creations from the Most High as the Most High instead of worshiping the Most High Himself, right? So let me get this in Psalms chapter 1, right? Psalms chapter 1 and verse number 3. Start at 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. You see that? Don't walk in the counsel of the ungodly, right? And we know that the other nations are the ungodly, and you got a lot of our people that are the ungodly. Nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. So blessed is that man that meditates in the law of the Most High day and night. As Israelites, that's our heritage, right? So we have to meditate in that day and night. What law am I keeping? What law am I not keeping? If I'm not keeping that law, I need to repent. I need to make that spiritual sacrifice to return back to the Lord, right? Verse number 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. You see that bring forth his fruit in his season. So that's what it's about. We want to be like that tree, you know, planted by the waters. Trees that are planted by the waters, for the most part, they're getting the sunlight, right? They're getting the water. Obviously, the water's under the ground. When you see a water or when you see a river, you have to realize or you have to remember that the water is deeper than just the water or the seabed or the ground that you're looking at. You look at a river and can touch the bottom. A creek, you can touch the bottom and you may be able to walk and stand in it. You can swim in it or whatever. But guess what? The water, if this is the bottom that you can see and you can walk on, the water itself is going all the way down. So guess where it's going? It's going into the roots of these trees. These trees are being fed, right? Fed thoroughly, right? So he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. And that's what we want to be. We want to be planted by the rivers of water, he says, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. And you have certain, I wrote these down, you have certain plants or trees that can grow and bring forth leaves and fruit all year round. You got the evergreen, right? You got the lavender plant. You got the hibiscus plant, right? A lot of people like that hibiscus tea, right? The lavender. These they can grow and flourish all year round. Hey, but that's and those are trees that we can see and maybe use in the right hand side in righteousness. But guess what? There's another tree that grows all year round. It's the holly tree. The holly tree is the tree that so-called that these witches be using to make their wands out of. So just like the trees in righteousness, you want to bring forth your fruit all year round, and you want to be planted by the living waters. Hey, you got trees on the left hand side that are planted by wicked waters, and they're being watered on the left hand side to bring forth fruit all year round. And that's why in so-called what November, December, you got all of these wicked holidays, right? These hell days. And these are the days or these are the times, and they kick it off. People realize that you're kicking it off with a so-called Halloween. So you kick it off with this wicked holiday, and then you follow it up with the celebration of the mass murdering of our people, right? Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving, right? Then you got Christmas following afterwards, right? Which is a lie, talking about Caesar Borgia worshiping the sun. Then after that, you got so-called New Year's Eve, right? Celebrating what is that? The god of duality, Janus, from the Greek Roman mythology, right? So you got these different uh, uh, hell days that's going back to back to back to back, and they got to push their agenda on the left hand side the same way that the Most High He's given us our righteous feast days on the right hand side, right? So you want to be meditating on the law. You want to be meditating on the Lord. You want to keep your mind focused on the Most High. So that way, I'm gonna read verse 3 again. Read verse 3 again. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So your knowledge, your understanding is not going to fail. It's not going to fall. Yeah, you may get older. Yeah, certain things may slip your mind, and whatever the case is. Hey, but your wisdom is going to be intact if you're meditating on the words of the Lord. You're meditating on the Most High. If you're doing what He tells you to do and you obey Him, and not doing what you want to do, right? So, and He said, and whatever you do, it's going to prosper, right? So once again, you want to make sure you're that tree planted in the right path, in the right place, right? Getting at those living waters. We're going to John chapter 7. And I'm going to start at verse 37. Salakia. John 7 and 37. It says, "And the last day, that great day of the feast, Yahweh Shai stood and cried, saying, If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink." You see that? So, hey, Yahweh Shai, he's the waters, right? He's the one that has the waters, right? You read about that also in John chapter 4 when he's talking to the woman at the well, right? So he's the one that has the water. If you drink of his water, you won't thirst again. So if any man is thirsty, he said, let him come unto me and drink. Verse 38, he that believeth on me, as the scripture have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water. That's what we want to be at, right? Meditating on the Lord, meditating on Yahweh, right? In the name or Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Meditating on the laws, the commandments, these different accounts, how to keep the faith, how I'm going to set my household in order, right? These are the things you want to be meditating on so that you can receive, right? These benefits from the Lord, right? The Lord will sup with you, right? He said he stands at the door and he knocks. If you let him in, and he's going to be the one that brings in the food. He's going to bring the food to you. Imagine you got a house, somebody come knocking at your door, and they bring the whole spread with them, right? Golden Corral, right? Or whatever buffet, Jake like to eat at, right? And he bringing the mac and cheese, and he's bringing the chicken, right? The rotisserie chicken, right? Or that Peruvian chicken, right? I like that stuff, right? The whatever it is Jake like to eat, hey, he's bringing it, right? He's bringing the wine, he's bringing the water, he's bringing the soda, the strong drink, or whatever it is that you like to get down with, and he's going to feed you, right? And he's going to feed you in righteousness, right? So you got to believe on him as the scripture says. You got to meditate on these things. So we are those trees, right? And we want to be planted by the living waters, right? Ezekiel chapter 31. Ezekiel chapter 31. I'm gonna start at 3. It says, "Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon with fair branches, and with a shadowing shroud, and of an high stature, and his top was among the thick boughs." Now, this is another allegory, right, or another parable, and this one is speaking about Adam, right, in the Garden of Eden. Yahweh Shai set him there, and he told him, "Of these trees you can eat, but of that tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you can't eat of that tree." So, right, verse number 4, the waters made him great. You see that? Wisdom, knowledge, understanding, right? The Most High breathed into him the breath of life, right? The waters made him great. The deep set him up on high with rivers running around about his plants. Like I was speaking on earlier, hey, that water runs deep. And when you read the parable, Mark chapter 4, of the sower sowing the word, and you want to be on good ground, because when you're on good ground, your roots can go deep and suck up the moisture from the ground. And as your roots are getting stronger, it's going to be easier for you to grow. And I'm not sure if it's true or not. Brothers, can look into it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they say that, a lot of trees, the height that they reach is how deep the roots go down into the earth. So if the tree is real tall, a lot of times those roots run down, set him up on high with rivers running round about his plants, right? And set out her little rivers unto all the trees of the field, right? So he's this great tree set by the waters, and then the waters are running down to the smaller trees. These are the other people, of his nation, and they're getting the wisdom, the knowledge, and understanding. Is not only going to him, but it's going to his own people as well. These are the trees in the garden that he could have ate of, as it spoke about. Verse number 5, therefore his height was exalted above all the trees of the field, and his boughs were multiplied, and his branches became long, because of the multitude of waters when he shot forth. You see that? All the fowls of heaven made their nest in his boughs, and under his branches did all the beasts of the field bring forth their young, and under his shadow dwelt all great nations. So, a Adam was set up as that king over the earth, and all of the other nations they came to him for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They came to him for guidance and how to move. But when Eve got beguiled by that serpent and she brought that to him, he started partaking of the knowledge of the other nations. And when you start doing that, that's when you in our idolatry. That's when you're putting somebody else or putting something else before the most high, right? And that was how he was able to fall. So us looking back at that, we gotta keep, our minds focused here in these living waters, right? You keep your faith, keep your face in this book. Can't be wandering around, you know what I mean, looking at different plants. Oh, this tree got this color flower. Hey, the Lord said, don't touch that tree. Don't worry about how beautiful it looks. Don't worry about the plants that come off of it. A lot of times, some of those beautiful plants are poisonous, right? You learn about that. A lot of the things that are in nature that have a lot of beautiful colors, a lot of times those things are poisonous, and they'll jam you up. That's how America is. America is set up so beautiful. They got their lights. They got Vegas and New York and these different cities that are set up to look so glamorous and so beautiful to attract you, like a moth attracted to light, or like a bee attracted to the sweetness or the nectar of a flower. You get attracted to these things, and then before you know it, you damn caught up in the damn Venus flytrap. You caught up in one of them plants that damn close up on you, and the juice in the plant damn dissolve you while you alive, right? You don't want to be caught out like that, right? You don't want to get caught out like that, and you don't want to be a plant that's trying to grow, and then you got some other plant just kind of some wicked vine wrapping itself around you and choking the life out you, and you damn die off because you wanted to grow with this plant instead of growing with your own plants, growing by your own waters. You want to grow over there with them. Stop doing that. Stay with the Lord. Let Him tell you what to do, right? But so men are compared to grass, men are compared as trees. So now we're going to speak on, right? Try to make this quick. We're going to speak on the gardener, right? But first we're going to speak on the renowned plant. The renowned plant. When you go to Ezekiel 34 and 27, it says, "And the tree of the field shall yield her fruit, and the earth shall yield her increase, and they shall be safe in their land, and shall know that I am the Lord." Right? Speaking about the kingdom, right? "When I have broken the bands off their yoke and delivered them out of the hand of those that serve themselves of them." Because we're being taken advantage of here in America. They don't give a damn about us. So we these trees, right, that have to have the bands broken off of us, these yokes broken off of us, right? And once again, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, He's going to do that, right? Verse 28, "And they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beast of the land devour them." And something that just hit me, uh, Esau and his wickedness. Say we're an orange tree, right? We're like oranges. We're like oranges, and what Esau will do, this is something that he did with this Bible, right? Walk with me because I'm trying to put it together as I'm saying it. Esau will take the orange, right? Meaning take the Bible, and then he'll take one of your oranges with the seeds in it, take it to his laboratory, and damn, take it apart, dissect it, and then what is it called? Genetically modify the GMOs, but it's another term I'm looking for. But they'll reproduce the plant or reproduce the fruit without the seeds. They'll take the Bible and strip you from all of the knowledge and understanding of the Bible, and then give you Christianity and tell you that that's the Bible. They done took your orange, they done took your grapes, then took it apart, looked into the DNA of it, and manipulated it, and now they're giving you seedless oranges and seedless grapes, and you don't even know what's real and what's not. And then when you look at an orange that's seedless and an orange with seeds, you can't tell the difference. Hey, but guess what? A lot of those seedless oranges, hey, they're real sweet when you taste them. They taste real good. And that's how Christianity be with people. It seemed good, it tastes good, but guess what? It's not the real thing. That's not what the Lord gave you. That's what man took, manipulated what the Lord gave you, and gave you his own version of it. That's what Christianity did. Right? All praise to the Most High. Most High, the Lord just put that on my spirit. But so now, as we're going through the scriptures, we got to understand that he gave us the good doctrine, right? Proverbs 4. We have good doctrine. So don't forsake the good doctrine that the Lord gave you and then start eating off of the trees of these other nations. A lot of those plants are poisonous. A lot of those plants will kill you. Stop. We got to stop eating off of the other nations' fruit. We eat of our fruit, right? We got the living waters right here, right? And that's what we need to follow, right? And Lord willing, I'm gonna do a part two, and then so in part one we went into how the Most High has the garden, right? Israel, we are the garden. Man is grass, right? And the glory of a man is his flower. Men are trees, and you want to be planted by the river, right? And Yahweh Shai, he's the living waters. If you believe on him, as the scripture says, out of your belly is going to flow rivers of living water. So we want to make sure that we're being planted in the house of the Lord and not being planted by these murky waters and the mire of these other nations, right? We don't want to be in a swamp. We want to be in an oasis. That's what the Most High set up for us, right? So make sure that we're acknowledging that and moving in righteousness, right? And then I'm gonna finish this off Ezekiel 34, and I'm gonna read pick up at 28. It says, and they shall no more be a prey to the heathen, neither shall the beast of the land devour them, but they shall dwell safely, and none shall make them afraid. Watch this. And I will raise up for them a plant of renown. Hey, what's the plant of renown? Who is the plant of renown? Yahweh Shai, right? King of kings, Lord of lords, the righteous, right? I will raise up for them a plant of renown, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land. Because you don't want to be a tree that's not getting proper sunlight. Esau trying to block the sun all the time because he hates the sun, right? Hey, so like, and they shall be no more consumed with hunger in the land, neither bear the shame of the heathen anymore. And we're not going to be walking around uh, speaking English. This is bearing the shame of the heathen. Speaking English, wearing these defiled clothes, eating these defiled foods. We already spoke about seedless oranges and seedless grapes. This is defiled food, right? Wine being fermented and processed with damn swine. I don't even know how they're doing that. Uh, this place is just defiled. And so when we are walking in this, we're bearing the shame of the heathen. Christianity, Islam, Buddhism. You out here trying to you calling yourself Kemet and Nubian. They don't have nothing to do with you. None of these things have anything to do with us. Walk in the spirit, read the Bible as it's written. Eat the oranges with the seeds and the grapes with the seeds in them. Stop eating these seedless oranges and seedless grapes that these nations are giving you and just telling you to eat up. It, and last thing, it may taste good up front, hey, but the nutrients ain't the same. It may taste sweet, but the nutrients ain't the same. And it might not taste as sweet all the time. Hey, but guess what? It's gonna build you up. It's gonna make you strong. It might not taste sweet all the time, but your spirit is gonna thank you later for it. Your spirit is not gonna thank you later when you eat other nations. It's gonna feel good at the moment. It's gonna feel good when you receive it. Hey, but as you keep partaking, you're gonna start to see your flower wither away. You're gonna start to see your fruit shrivel up and get smaller and smaller. You're gonna start to see your leaves go from being green to tan to orange to brown to that crisp that sound like that when you grab them. You don't want your leaves sounding like that. You want your leaves to have life, right? And the only way to do that is to stay in this word, right? But Lord willing, this was edifying, right? Lord willing, I'm gonna do a part two going into the renowned plant and the gardener and the other gardeners, the husbandmen, right? But with that, hey, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, Baraka Thumb, Shabbat Shalom, Yasha Allah.